Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, and I'm going to be doing the Week 12 NCAA Football League key game reviews, which, if you remember in the previous episode, I said I was going to be doing conference key games instead of just the old 5 key games, because I was constantly having the same games and the same conferences in the key games. So this just gives love to all conferences. Now, for the ACC, we have number 7 Miami against number 6 Virginia Tech. Inside the confines of Lane Stadium, the Hurricanes started off scoring with a 12-yard run by Williams, but the Hokies answered back with a 9-yard touchdown pass from Matthews to Brown, and the score stayed 7-7 at the end of the first quarter. Cohen responds with a 2-yard pass to Williams, then Matthews finds Carter for 80 yards to tie it up again, but Williams takes the lead back for Miami with an 81-yard run of his own, and Matthews dots up on the secondary again, this time finding Bally for a 60-yard touchdown to once again tie it up. But with under a minute left in the half, the Hurricanes send out Joseph for a 30-yard field goal, and he makes it to take a 24-21 lead into halftime, which gave fans a bit of time to catch their breath after an exciting first half of scoring. But the second half became more of a story of defense, as Miami does strike first again, Cowan to Collins from 12 yards, then Virginia Tech with another response, a 4-yard run by Lane to cut the lead to 31-28 at the end of 3, as both teams cooled off, but tensions were heating up. Matthews comes up clutch for the Hokies, as he found Vogelpohl for a 29-yard touchdown to take the lead 35-31 with 2 minutes left, and the Hokies defense holds off Miami and win it 35-31, as Virginia Tech is one step closer to their possible destiny of playing Mickey in the ACC Championship, while Miami will just have to see where they're going in their bowl game for this year. For the Big 12, we had 21-ranked Oklahoma versus Texas Tech, and Lubbock came ready for a showdown, but what they got was a slow beatdown. Oklahoma started off with a 44-yard field goal by Polite. Then Crowder runs it in from 7 yards out to put the Sooners up 10-0, silencing the Red Raiders early on. And then both defenses played well, but especially Texas Tech couldn't get their gears going, and remained 10-0 going into the half, with the Sooners looking very strong. A small crack in the Sooners' armor has the Red Raiders on the board with a 2-yard touchdown pass from Simmons to Walker to now be down 10-7, and Oklahoma responds with a 43-yard field goal by Polite to be up 13-7 going to the fourth, which the Sooners do pull away here in the fourth, stifling any Red Raiders momentum, along with scoring an 8-yard touchdown pass from Harris to Wilson, but failed a 2-point conversion to try to go up by 2 full touchdowns. Then Harris to Wilson again, this time from 44 yards out, and at the last second of the game, which might fuel a fire for next season when Texas Tech has to go into Norman, Oklahoma kicks a 26-yard field goal with Polite making it, which, considering the situation, ironic last name, has Oklahoma winning 29-7, shutting down the passing attack to only 225 yards, which, for an offense that was throwing like 400 yards a game, yeah, made them look pretty average there. Now, for the Big East, we had Syracuse versus UConn, and East Hartford was looking for some hope of a competent football team, but I don't think it's happening this season. Though a 1-yard touchdown pass from Washington to Williams does spark after the first quarter, that 30-yard field goal by Bone to go up 10-0 has some hope, feeling like it's brewing inside the home stadium, and I'm not going to try to pronounce the home stadium name. Hopefully it's something different now, and I'll look that up and put it in for a future video whenever UConn's in. But the Orange saw the green light and started beating the Huskies black and blue. A 33-yard pass from Walker to Butler cuts the score to 10-7. Then the Huskies get another field goal. This time Brown hit it from 46 yards out, but that would be UConn's last score. An 11-yard run by Walker and a 10-yard run by Gates put the Orange up 21-13 at the half. Then they continued the domination with a 3-yard run by Schroeder. Then Walker finds Butler again, this time for 62 yards, to go up 35-13 after 3. And then Morden with a 38-yard field goal with under 5 minutes left seals a 38-13 victory for Syracuse. Hopefully this is what Syracuse will need for next season to try to make a bowl game. I'm not going to say they're going to win the Big East next season because you still got Louisville, still got Pittsburgh, you still got West Virginia to worry about. So, focus on a bowl game next season. Meanwhile, for the Big Ten, the team that seemed to get like 3 key games every single week, you have number 9 Wisconsin against Minnesota. And the Metrodome was looking to see something they haven't seen since the Twins in 1991. A championship. And by God, they somehow pulled it off. Nothing like a bit of smash mouth football here, as the Golden Gophers score first with a 2-yard run by Woods to take the early 7-0 lead into the second quarter, where Robertson proves that Minnesota kickers can be reliable with a 23-yard field goal to go up 10-0. But the Badgers fought through and got an 11-yard touchdown run by Anderson, who is in contention for the best running back in the nation to cut it to a 10-7 game. But Wisconsin could not find the end zone again, as Minnesota put on a good defensive showing, including kicking a 31-yard field goal with under a minute left in the half to go up into halftime 13-7. After a quiet third quarter of good defense by both squads, the air inside the Metrodome was palpable with realization of them winning the championship. They realized their dreams were getting closer with a 5-yard run by Woods and a made 2-point conversion to go up 21-7. Then Bali put icing on the cake, the final nail in the coffin, by connecting to Flowers from 25 yards out to seal a 28-7 victory to end this exciting, crazy, and wild season for the Big Ten. I cannot wait to do the season review for the Big Ten, because that is going to be fun for me to do, considering all the stuff that's happened in the Big Ten this season. And a lot of experts would have had, Ohio State, Michigan, probably Wisconsin winning the conference. But Minnesota proved golden this year, and hopefully they can build momentum off of that for the next few years. For the Conference USA, we have UAB versus Memphis. And the Liberty Bowl faithful came into this game looking to see the Tigers dominate another rival, with a sea of blue surrounding the stadium, and they got an absolute banger. It didn't start out that way, as Memphis put the foot on the pedal early, with Ryan throwing 2 touchdown passes early on, one to Estes from 30 yards out, and then Hines from 2 yards out, to go up 14-0 after the first quarter. The Blazers showed life in the second quarter with an 11-yard run by Burks to cut the lead in half, but Schroeder with a 20-yard field goal at the end of the half has Memphis up 17-7. UAB shut out Memphis in the third quarter, along with a McClover kick from 29 yards out, and Burks getting a 5-yard run to tie things up at 17 heading into the final quarter. McClover hits another field goal, this time from 35 yards, but Memphis scored with 3:16 left in the game, with Rhodes, who came into the game and had thrown 3 picks earlier, because I'm guessing Ryan got injured for the rest of the game, had some adrenaline in his soul to find Roden from 2 yards out to win it 24-20, nearly giving their fans heart attacks. Memphis is now bowl eligible with win number 6, as UAB will probably have to wait until next year in Birmingham to get revenge. And now we go on to the independent scene with Northern Illinois, who is in the MAC, against the independent team of Navy. Annapolis was in for a show today, although I don't think anyone expected it to be this close. Granted, the Huskies started off very strong, with Gunn firing off for a couple of touchdowns, one to Ross from 19 yards out, and another to Harris from 4 yards out to go up 14-0 after the first quarter, completely immobilizing the midshipmen. Navy does get the rare for them touchdown pass from Young to Fagan from 5 yards out, followed by Noel's 32-yard field goal to cut the lead to 4. But Northern Illinois responds with Gunn shooting for the skies and finding Rhodes from 12 yards out to bring the lead to 11. But Navy has Cannons too, with Young firing it to Preston for a 72-yard touchdown pass to bring it back to 4. But Gunn kept firing himself to Harris again, this time from 21 yards to go into halftime up 28-17, keeping Navy down 2 possessions. David stepped up for both squads, and Navy stroked slowly for a 4-yard run by Hayden to bring it to a 28-24 gain going into the fourth quarter, as a 9-minute scoring drive was not on the Huskies' menu, being slowed down offensively. If it probably wasn't for that long drive, I think Northern Illinois could have won the game because they had the momentum, but the slow drive just killed their momentum offensively. But Slater comes in later in the game and finds Rogers for a 35-yard touchdown pass to, once again, be up by 11. Another run by Hayden from 4 yards out. Again brings them within 6 after a failed 2-point conversion, but a 7.5-minute touchdown drive with a 4-yard run by Ward brings the midshipmen a lead with under a minute left. They failed another 2-point conversion, so the lead is just 1, but that's all they needed to win, 36-35, an absolute barn burner. Navy, getting back to what's been working for them, really helped them out in the second half, as in the first half they were playing by Northern Illinois rules, but the midshipmen flipped the script, as now they will rest up for Army, while the Huskies have to put that joke out of their minds heading into a pivotal matchup against Ball State. And now, for some action, we got Akron against Miami of Ohio. Oxford was looking forward to a good game, and they got one in a way they definitely hoped for. The Red Hawks got an 89-yard pick six by Hall to open up scoring, and boy did it open. A 9-yard pass from Goss to Bruner puts them up 14-0 after the first quarter, with Williams getting involved with a 6-yard run before Goss finds Mitchell from 21 yards out and 16 yards out to absolutely destroy any faith in the Zips comeback. Matthew does find Ham for 70 yards for Akron to only be down 35-7 at the half, but the Red Hawks finished the job in the third quarter. Williams taking it in from 14 yards out, and Goss finding Scott from 8 yards out to secure a 49-7 drumming of a conference foe, and quite possibly claim the East in the MAC, which I'm pretty sure they did. And now, this game for the Mountain West, BYU, Wyoming. I have to give a game of the year. And, this is coming from someone who talked terribly about both these teams throughout the entire year. Because Laramie is tired of losing, and we're hoping that the Cowboys could finally bring in some hope of a win. And it certainly happened in one of the most exciting games of the season, and from one of the unlikeliest sources. BYU started off the scoring with a 30-yard field goal by Newton, but Wyoming responds with a 3-yard touchdown by Bush to lead it 7-3 after the first quarter, having War Memorial Stadium coming alive. If only they knew how much of a war this would be. Another field goal by Newton from 36 yards cuts the lead to 1, but a 40-yard touchdown pass from Lewis to Beard increases the lead to 8. Then a 40-yard field goal by Rose puts them up 17-6 going into halftime, with hope surging in Laramie. Rose nails a 20-yard field goal to go up 20-6, a full 2-touchdown lead in the third quarter. but BYU starts chipping away. A 6-yard run by Dow with a minute and left with half a minute in the quarter cuts the lead to 7, heading into the fourth quarter, where Cameron throws a 14-yard touchdown pass to Alvarez to tie it up at 20. Lewis wasn't going to give up, though, throwing it to Bush from 4 yards out to retake a 7-point lead. But with 7.5 minutes to work with, the Cougars tied up with under 6 minutes left from a 78-yard touchdown pass from Cameron to Finnerty, with that being the last score in regulation. Yes, this game went into overtime, and the hearts in War Memorial Stadium were in every fan's throats, thinking that this would be so cruel to lose this one after having a strong lead. And overtime rules in college football, if some people don't know, you get one possession from the 25-yard line. And if you score, great. If not, the other team gets the ball and they get to score. We'll try to score. If not, in this game, it just keeps going back and forth. After third overtime, you go for 2. Of course, the rules are different nowadays, thanks to the Texas A&M and LSU game years ago. But here's what happened in the overtime period here. Lewis showed more heart by striking a 16-yard pass to Smith to score first, but Cameron and the Cougars responded by a 1-yard touchdown pass to Robson to tie it up again, now at 34 apiece. Newton's leg was trusted by Steve Young from 29 yards out to put the Cougars up 37-34, which, considering what I'm going to say next, makes you wonder, why did he actually fully trust the kicker, knowing he needed touchdowns? Because the Cowboys fired the last shot, with Lewis proving that they deserved this win with a 25-yard pass from Gould to win it 40-37 in a game where Wyoming definitely proved it all, because they got over 500 yards of offense, Lewis throwing over 400 yards, Bush getting 101 yards on the ground. And this is a time to celebrate in Laramie, as the people over in Provo might reconsider keeping Steve Young after that double overtime loss, because you lost to the 0-10 team. But it's football. Now we travel to the Pac-10 for number 20 Oregon State against Washington State. The people in Pullman were hoping for a good game, but for their team, all they got was a game. The Cougars did take a 7-0 lead with 4 minutes left in the first quarter, with Blackstock finding Higgins from 14 yards out for the touchdown. But then the Beavers came charging the next 2 quarters. Jackson was for real, throwing 3 touchdowns, 1 to Beard from 2 yards out, then 2 to Holland, 1 from 20 yards out, and another from 16 yards out, with Larkins kicking a 32-yard field goal to end the second quarter with a 24-7 run through going into the half. Another field goal by Larkins, this time from 20 yards out, a 7-yard run by Miller, and a 2-yard pass from Jackson to Sutton helped Oregon State in the third quarter to pull away 41-7, which became the final score. As Oregon State probably wanted to save some offense for the Civil War game against Oregon, as Washington State now has to try to bounce back for the Apple Cup against Washington now after that drumming. For the SEC, between number 2 McNary Central and number 12 Tennessee, shortest explanation out of the entire one. Bobcats did what they've always done this season and went to an opposing stadium, this time the renowned Neyland Stadium, and obliterated Tennessee 252-0. The main question that's on the minds of everyone in Selmer is, will McNary Central finally get the recognition that they deserved for the past few weeks and finally be ranked number 1 in the nation? And now we are on to the Sun Belt between North Texas and Arkansas State. The Indians were hoping to help their chances of winning the conference, but Vance and Jonesboro didn't get what they hoped for. The Indians did get an early lead with a 19-yard field goal by Harrison in the first quarter, but once the clock changed to the second quarter, the mean green became really mean. An 8-yarder run by Bush, 2 field goals by Macklin, one from 27 and another from 39 yards. Ours have them leading 13-7 at the half. Then in the third quarter, a 3-yard run by Valentine gets them to a 20-3 lead. Then Harrison kicks a 28-yard field goal to cut the lead down to 20-6. But the fourth quarter was the dagger that North Texas needed. 2 touchdowns from Hawk, one to Hill from 6 yards out, and one to Clark from 17 yards out, put them up 34-6. Then one last touchdown by Arkansas State, scoring with a 6-yard run by Lovelady, made the final score 34-13, helping the Mean Green become one step closer to winning the championship. And the Indians will just have to try to win the conference next season. Simple as that, you know. And now we have the last conference, the WAC, which this game very much was WAC, between Idaho and Boise State. Bronco Stadium was ready for just another drumming of Idaho, as they've done in years past, but this game turned out a lot closer than anyone expected. It's definitely a lot closer than I expected, in all honesty. I mean, the Vandals started off with a 5-yard pass from Harris to Taylor to get a 7-0 lead on the road. Then Oliver proves why he was brought to this goal by nailing a 50-yard field goal to go up by 10, shocking Boise. The Broncos offense finally got into gear with a 2-yard run by Hoyt, then Green throwing a 3-yard pass to Larson to go up 14-10 going to the half. This game wasn't a cakewalk like people were expecting. We were getting a fight. Teams traded field goals in the third, with Oliver hitting a 30-yard field goal for Idaho. Then Washington hitting a 36-yard field goal to ease the lead at 4 going into the fourth quarter. A Green to Watson connection from 5 yards out puts the Broncos ahead by 11. Then a 52-yard field goal by Washington, trying to see if an NFL team would take him for his long-range accuracy, brings the lead to 14 with little more than 9 minutes left. A 56-yard pass from Harris to Coleman brings it to a 27-20 score, but it was not enough time for the full comeback as Boise State holds on. It was a hard-fought win, but a hard-fought win before your biggest game of the year is not what the Broncos wanted, but it does help establish Idaho a little bit in football, competing with one of the best teams in the conference. And that's all the key games for this week. As you can see, this went on for a lot longer than all the other ones because of all the conferences. Next few weeks, conferences are going to get dwindled down because we're at the end of the year basically. So, spread love around everybody, and I will see you all next time.